I want to have the conversation that families avoid having until a crisis forces it. Nursing home or staying home alone after 80. Not the version where one option is obviously right and the other is obviously wrong. Not the version designed to comfort you or to frighten you into a decision. The honest version. The one that looks at both choices, what they actually cost, what they actually provide, what they actually do to a person over time, and treats you as an adult who deserves the full picture. I am 83 years old. I have watched my mother spend 7 years in a nursing home. I have watched my closest friend spend her 80s alone in her own house. I have spent 2 years living with each reality, close enough to see what the brochures do not show and what the advocates for staying home do not say. Both options have real advantages, both have real costs, and the right answer is almost never the same for any two people, which is why the conversation has to be honest before it can be useful. So let's have it, honestly, without the agenda, because the decision you make or the decision that gets made for you if you don't make it yourself is one of the most consequential of your life. You deserve to make it with clear eyes. I want to tell you why this comparison is rarely made honestly before I make it. The people who advocate for nursing homes are often, directly or indirectly, connected to the industry. They emphasize safety, professional care, social activity, and the relief it brings to families. These things are real, but they have an interest in the positive framing. The people who advocate for staying home are often directly or indirectly motivated by a deep cultural belief that home is always better, or by guilt about the alternative. They emphasize autonomy, dignity, and the damage that institutional living does to people. These things are also real, but they too have an interest in the positive framing. Very few people sit down and say, here is what each option actually costs and provides, across every dimension that matters, without the agenda. That is what I am going to do today. I will tell you where staying home wins. I will tell you where nursing home care wins. I will tell you where both options fail. And I will tell you the questions you need to answer about your own specific situation before this comparison can mean anything for you. Round 1, safety. The argument. Everyone leads with nursing home. Advocates lead with safety. And they are not wrong to. The fall statistics for people living alone after 80 are serious. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in this age group. At home, a fall can mean hours on the floor before help arrives. In a nursing home, someone is there within minutes. Medical emergencies that would be catastrophic at home, a cardiac event, a stroke, a sudden deterioration, are survivable in a facility with trained staff and emergency protocols. This is real. This matters. But here is what the safety argument does not say. Nursing homes are not uniformly safe. Falls happen in nursing homes at significant rates because residents are often more physically compromised than people living independently, because facilities vary enormously in staffing levels, and because the transition itself into a nursing home is a period of high vulnerability. And there is a second dimension of safety that the facility argument almost never addresses: the safety of remaining yourself. My friend Eleanor stayed home alone until she was 89. She fell once at 84 and was on the floor for 4 hours before her neighbour checked on her. It was frightening and painful and left its mark. She also died at 89 in her own bed, knowing where she was with her own things around her, having made her own decisions until the final weeks. My mother entered a facility at 79. She was physically safer. She was also, within 2 years, a different person. Quieter, less present, less recognizably herself. Physical safety and psychological safety are both real. The honest comparison requires both. Round 2. Loneliness, the factor. Nobody puts in the brochure. The argument for nursing homes always includes social life. The activities calendar, the dining room full of people, the built-in community, and for some people, people who have become genuinely isolated at home, people whose social network has shrunk to almost nothing, people who thrive with structure and company, this is a real and significant benefit. But the social life of a nursing home is not the social life of a person who maintains their own connections. There is a difference between proximity and community. You can be surrounded by people and profoundly alone. You can share a dining room with 40 people and have no one who knows your history, who knew you when you were 40, who would notice if the essential quality of you had changed. My mother had activities. She had people at her table. What she did not have, what the facility could not provide, was anyone who remembered who she had been. Eleanor, living alone, called me every Tuesday. She had her book group. She had her neighbour Carol, who came for coffee on Thursdays. Her social world was smaller than a nursing home dining room and infinitely more real. The loneliness question is not, will I be around people? It is, will I be known? Both options can fail this test. Both can pass it. The answer depends entirely on the specific situation, the specific facility, the specific home situation, the specific person. But the honest comparison requires admitting that an activities calendar is not the same as being known, and that living alone does not automatically mean being lonely. Round 3. Autonomy. What you actually give up in each option. This is the dimension where staying home wins most clearly, and where nursing home advocates are least honest. At home, you decide when you wake up, what you eat and when, whether you want company today or solitude, what temperature your room is, what music plays, whether you feel like getting dressed or staying in your dressing gown until noon. These decisions seem trivial. They are not. They are the architecture of a self, the daily exercise of being the author of your own life. And when they are removed, even gently, even with good intentions, even in an environment of genuine care, something essential begins to erode. In a nursing home, the schedule is institutional, meals at fixed times, activities at fixed times, lights out at a time that is not yours. The rhythm of your days is set by the needs of a facility serving many people, not by the preferences of one person. Some people adapt to this. Some people even find relief in it. The relief of not having to decide, of being held by a structure after years of managing everything alone. But many do not adapt. Many experience the loss of daily autonomy as a profound diminishment, not a dramatic event, but a slow draining of something that was central to who they were. The honest answer to the autonomy question is this: if you are a person for whom self-determination is fundamental, if you have always been someone who needed to make your own choices about your own days, this matters enormously. It is not a minor consideration to be weighed against safety. For many people it is a central one. Staying home has real risks, but it preserves this. And for some people, preserving this is worth the risks. Round 4. Medical care, what each option actually provides. The assumption is that nursing homes provide better medical care. This assumption deserves examination. A good nursing home provides consistent medication management, regular health monitoring, and immediate response to acute events. For people with complex medical needs requiring daily professional attention, this is a genuine and significant advantage. But here is what nursing home medical care often does not provide: a doctor who knows you, continuity of care across your full medical history, the ability to ask all your questions to someone who has the time to answer them, medical decision-making that centers your preferences rather than institutional protocols. Nursing home residents frequently see rotating physicians who know them only from their charts. Medical decisions are made efficiently, not always individually. At home, with the right primary care relationship, you have a doctor who knows your full history, who understands your priorities, who treats you as a whole person rather than a set of conditions to be managed. My friend Patricia's doctor visited her at home twice a year for 12 years. He knew her. He understood what mattered to her. When she developed a cardiac condition at 83, the decisions made about her care reflected who she was, not just what her body required. The quality of medical care in either option varies enormously. The honest question is not nursing home or home. It is whether the specific medical care available in each option in your specific circumstances is adequate for your specific needs. Round 5. The family. Question: what each option does to the people who love you. This dimension is almost never discussed honestly because it involves acknowledging things that are uncomfortable to say. Staying home alone after 80, if your health or safety requires regular monitoring, places a burden on your family that is real and significant. The worry, the phone calls to make sure you are all right, the visits motivated by anxiety rather than purely by love, the weight of knowing that something could happen and they might not know quickly enough. This burden is not always acknowledged by the person living at home, because acknowledging it feels like conceding a point in favor of the facility, but it is real, and it has costs to relationships, to the mental health of adult children, to the quality of the time you spend together when the visits are infused with worry. On the other side, placing a parent in a nursing home does not end the guilt or the worry. It changes its texture. Many adult children who move a parent into a facility report that the guilt is worse, not better, that every missed visit becomes evidence of abandonment, that the relief of knowing their parent is safe is perpetually shadowed by the knowledge of what was lost. Neither option resolves the family question. Both options create their own version of it. The honest comparison requires asking, which version of difficulty are the people you love better equipped to handle, and which version is more consistent with the relationship you want to have with them in whatever time remains. Round 6. Money. The conversation everyone avoids until they can't. Nursing home care is expensive. In most countries, full nursing home care costs between $50,000 and $100,000 per year or more. This is money that, once spent, is gone, and that can exhaust the savings of a lifetime within a few years. Staying home with adequate support, a daily home care aid, modifications to the house, telehealth monitoring, emergency response systems, is also expensive, though typically less so than full residential care. Living alone without adequate support is cheaper still, but the hidden cost of that option, the fall that sends someone to hospital, the health deterioration that goes undetected, the crisis that arrives because there was no one there to catch the early signs. Those costs are deferred, not avoided. The honest financial conversation requires looking at the full picture across time. What does each option cost per year? What does each option cost per year? If a significant health event occurs, what are the implications for the financial security and inheritance of your family? And the question that is hardest to ask, but most important, what are you willing to spend to maintain what matters most to you? And is that spending consistent with your actual financial position? Money is not the most important factor in this decision, but it is a real one. And the people who make it badly are almost always the ones who avoided the financial conversation until the decision was made under crisis conditions with no time to plan. The honest answer, what the comparison actually reveals. After 6 rounds of honest comparison, here is what I believe is true. There is no universally correct answer. The people for whom a nursing home is genuinely the better choice are real, people whose medical needs require constant professional attention, people who have become dangerously isolated, people for whom the structure of institutional life is not a constraint but a relief, people whose home situation has become objectively unsafe in ways that cannot be remediated. For these people, a good nursing home, and good ones exist, can genuinely be the better life. The people for whom staying home is genuinely the better choice are also real. People with strong social networks, people with adequate home support, people for whom autonomy is fundamental, people whose sense of self is so bound up with their own space and their own routine that institutional life would diminish them irreversibly. For these people, staying home with the right support, with clear-eyed awareness of the risks, can genuinely be the better life. The people who make this decision badly are the ones who made it under crisis conditions, with inadequate information based on what seemed easiest rather than what was most honest. You are watching this, which means you have not yet reached that crisis. You have time to think clearly. Use it. The 5 questions. What you must answer. Before this decision is made, before this comparison means anything for your specific situation, you need honest answers to these 5 questions. 1. What are your actual medical needs? Not your current needs, but your likely needs over the next 5 years if your current trajectory continues. 2. What does your social world actually look like? Not what you wish it looked like, but what it genuinely is today. How many real connections do you have, and how robust are they? 3. How important is daily autonomy to your sense of self? Be honest, some people genuinely find structure a relief. Most people my age do not. 4. What can you actually afford? Not optimistically, but realistically, including the possibility of a significant health event. 5. What do the people who will be most affected by this decision, your family, your closest people, actually need? Not what they say they need. What the situation actually requires of them in each option. Write these answers down. Share them with the people who will be part of this decision. Make this a real conversation rather than a series of polite deferrals, because the decision will be made. The question is whether you make it or whether a crisis makes it for you. Nursing home or staying home alone after 80? Safety versus autonomy? Institutional community versus real connection? Professional care versus self-determination? Known costs versus hidden ones? Neither option is simple. Neither option is free. Neither option is right for everyone. What I can tell you, from 83 years of living and watching, is that the people who navigate this decision best are the ones who make it with honest information before the crisis, on their own terms. My mother did not make this decision. It was made for her, in the aftermath of a fall, in 3 days, by people who loved her and were frightened. I have been making this decision for 6 years, slowly, carefully, keeping my options open, staying at home for as long as it is genuinely the better choice, and knowing clearly what the signs would be, that it had stopped being so. That clarity is not resignation, it is freedom, because the decision you make on your own terms, with clear eyes, in your own time, that decision can still be yours. Make it yours. I'll see you in the next one.